Welcome to Infinity Capital, everyone. This is Raj. We are going to analyze IIFL Finance Limited. I have been slowly building positions into small banks, and this is the first finance company that I'm looking at. Right. So I have Muthoot Finance in my long-term portfolio, which is into gold loans. So while I was doing some study on Muthoot, I found out more about IIFL Finance as well. And this stock looked pretty cheap valuation wise. There is good growth in sales and revenue, and it's a pretty old company. So, I found that a position can be made in this stock in the short term, and some money can be made out of this. Right. So IIFL Finance, for those who don't know, it's an NBFC, and they give home loans, gold loan, business loan, microfinance, okay, capital market finance, construction finance. So these are the broad products that they sell. Okay. So out of all the products, they have their focus is on retail loans, which is 93% of their loans is retail, 6% is wholesale, and there is a mix of, just a second guys, so I'll show you. Yeah, so home loans are 34% of the loan book, gold loans are 31%, business loans are 16, microfinance 10, CRE loans are at 7%, and capital market finance at 2%. So out of all this, microfinance and CRE is more risky, and microfinance has a trouble right now, because if you look at all the other microfinance companies like Spandana, Credit Access, and some other small finance banks, they are having trouble with their NPS. Construction real estate has picked up, but this pain will not go away very soon. So I'm going to pay attention to this going forward, as to how, what sort of growth is happening, or what sort of provisions are happening in this loan book. All right. Apart from that, we will go through the investor presentation to find out more about the company. Currently the stock is available at a PE of 10, and if you look at the peers, so Cholamandalam PE of 28, right, and Muthoot Finance. Obviously, Muthoot Finance is a pure play gold loan company, so even that is trading at a PE of 14. Bajaj Finance is a different. It's a market leader, so it has the PE is very high. So overall, there is good scope for this company. It's a small market cap company, and it can grow if it manages its business well. Right. So let's go through the investor presentation and find out more about the company. So what are the most important things? So they have added 4,000 employees in first half yearly FY22, and they commenced 230 new branches. So that is excellent, right? Apart from that, they have undrawn lines of 6,379 crores. Digital loan disbursements grew at 39%, so that is excellent. So digital initiatives are paying off, and more companies would want to give out digital loans because it's cheaper operationally as well. However, we cannot rule out the fact that they need branch presence, because if you look at any other company, everybody wants to have a branch presence. So whether it is Muthoot Finance, Manappuram, as a matter of fact, even Bajaj Finance has branches all over. In fact, Policy Bazaar, which is a fintech company, they have expressed a lot of interest in opening up branches. I think they have a few branches. They want to open more to increase their presence. So, as much as there is talk about fintech and technology taking over and everything happening online, that is not entirely true. presence of branches will be very important to do business for these companies. So total loan book is 44,000 crores. Return on equity is excellent. Return on asset is also pretty good. Cost of funds is 8.7. They can probably work on this. We'll have to. I think Muthoot Finance also, the cost of funds is around 8.58 something. Uh, Gross NPA 2.3, net NPA is 1.1. Excellent numbers, right? Employees total 23,000 employees. They have around 2,900 branches. That is excellent. Previous year they had 2,400 branches. CAR of 26%. Last year they had CAR of 19%. Retail wholesale mix is good, right? So gold loan 31%, home loan 35%, business loan 16%, microfinance 10, CRE 6, capital market 2%. So this is the meat of the business: gold loan and home loan. Business loan is suffering right now, microfinance is suffering right now. We'll get to know more about them moving forward, right? So what is the business strategy? As I said earlier, branches and technology are two pillars of our business strategy. So, branches facilitate storage of gold, customer servicing, so on and so forth. So, if you're in the gold loan business, it's a OPEX heavy business. So, you cannot do it entirely online. And you will have to set up shops, you will have safes over there, you will have people who will guard the gold. So, the OPEX is high, right? Financial strategy: banks are keen to buy retail loan portfolio. So IIFL has unique strengths in scaling up. So look at our country, guys. We are extremely underpenetrated in terms of finance and banking. For a country which is moving on to become a $5-6 trillion economy, there are roughly around 125 crore people in this country. You can count the number of banks on your fingers, right? So the banking and the finance industry is nowhere near its peak. It is going to grow by leaps and bounds. And to think that the the whole market is going to touch 1 lakh, BSE Sensex will touch 1 lakh, and banking is going to left behind is pretty naive in its thought process. You cannot have a developing economy grow without finance and banking growing. So there is a lot of pessimism about banking and finance right now, but I'm extremely bullish. I have a contra trade. Roughly around 30-35% of my short-term portfolio is in banking and finance right now, and I'm looking to buy companies with good metrics. So IIFL is one of them, right? Loan AUM. So this is the loan AUM mix. We saw that earlier, right? So how the loan AUM has progressed. They started with 24% home loans in FY17. Now they are at 35%, right? Gold loan is 31%. Business loan they've minimized, right? Microfinance is growing. Microfinance is more lucrative, so it is growing. Commercial CRE, they are basically scaling it out. Capital markets and commercial vehicle, right? So they probably want to be like an overall all-rounder finance company. So started their commercial vehicle, but they got out of it. Capital markets also, the business has contracted. So probably they are not very good at it. And commercial vehicle business is a cyclical business. So it's not everybody's cup of tea as well, right? Okay, moving forward. What do we have here? I just want to show you the net interest. Yes. So the net interest margin is 6.6%. Last year it was around 6.3%. So the net interest margin has become better, right? And okay. So loan AUM has grown from 18,000 crores to 40,000 crores. The loan AUM has actually doubled since FY17. PAT has not done any significant uptake, because if you see, if the loan book has grown double, the PAT should have doubled too. So something that probably the profitability comes at a higher uptake, the stock can do much better. However, so 18-19 2018 and 19 were extremely tough years for NBFC because of the IL&FS crisis. So, we can expect better profitability now. NIMs have been in the range of around 6.5. They dipped to 5.9 in FY18, but that could be an anomaly. Otherwise, it's around 6.5, 6.4. If they bring this down and they increase their loan book, they can have a lot of profitability in the company. So ROEs have become better, much better. If you see, the ROE trend has been going up. Return on equity has also become much better, right? Since FY17, the return on equity is much better, right? Capital adequacy ratio is pretty good. Okay, so if you see the disbursements trend, everything has been trending upwards. Home loan, business loan is not that great. Microfinance actually has recovered pretty well. Okay, GNPAs, NNPA. So the GNPA for this company has actually ballooned up and gone much higher, and the NNPAs have also risen. So this is something that I will be basically tracking on a quarter-on-quarter basis to understand if this is becoming better. Okay, considering the fact that we had COVID last year, so this is bound to happen in finance companies. All right. What else? Gross NPAs in home loan is 1.8%. Business loans, if you see, as I said earlier, it's a risky product, so 6.1. Microfinance 2.4. Gold loans, it's one of the safest products, 1%. Now, you have to look at the devastation of COVID. Gold loan, which is a very safe product, has an average GNPA of around 0.5, 0.4, 0.5. That has doubled, right? So, we will take some time to get full recovery out of COVID. However, markets are forward looking. So if we wait for the numbers to become better, the stock would have already run up by that time. Okay. Just going to show you the sources of funds. So the term loans, bonds, refinance, commercial paper. So this is their sources of fund, and this is their structural liquidity chart. So they have surplus as of percentage of outflow. So this is the chart that they've made, right? So currently they have roughly around 6,300 crores to deploy for business, which they can use for growth. These are the credit ratings. So AA for IIFL Finance, as well as Home Finance, and IIFL Public Bonds. They raised 843 crores in October 21. All right, and so CRISIL has upgraded their Samasta rating. So CRISIL upgraded IIFL's long-term credit rating. So this is also pretty good. The news is good over here, right? So overall, this is these are the metrics which look that they are improving. This is the other information where how their loans are placed in India. So percentage wise, if you want to do a deep dive on this, right? Home loans, what is the portfolio yield and stuff. So the yield is around 10%, right? And we can check the yields of everything over here. Business loan yields is much higher, but it's a risky business. So even though the yield is 15%, the NPAs are pretty high. So it becomes a difficult business to do. You can have 20% yield, but if the NPAs goes to 5-6%, there is no point doing that business. So it's a risky business, but they have to have a mix of everything, because they can't depend on one business alone, right? So the yield on gold loans, look at this guys, 17%. It's excellent. Yield on gold loans is excellent, right? And the NPAs are also pretty less. That's why it's a safe business to be in. Look at Muthoot Finance. It's such a safe and good bet, and it continues to go up. If you manage the business well, you can't lose money in gold loans. So the portfolio yield in microfinance is way higher, but if the NPAs rise, then this becomes useless. So that is why they have a smaller loan book. The microfinance loan book is pretty small, right? So it's always good to have a good mix of all types of loans. So some loans will do much better in a better economy. Some loans will do differently in different cycles. So you have to have a mix. So you make it up, so when the economy starts doing well, people will take business loans and all of those kind of loans, and that will give them more earnings, because the yield is much higher. However, you cannot have a very big business loan book, because when the economy collapses or we have a recession, that is when the problem will happen. So they have a decent mix which will give them a profitability, right, and help them survive in bad times. Right, let's look at the investor profile. Promoters hold around 25% stake. FII is 25%. DII somehow are missing from this game. Public holds 49%, but this is a bit different. Just going to show you the chart here. So actual retail holding is only 9%, and then there are these big participants here: Asia Fund, Asian Reconnaissance Fund, Small Cap World Fund has recently entered the stock in December, right? And then there are other Mauritius Investment, CDC Group, NRIs, and so on and so forth, right? So retail holds very little amount, only 10%. Currently, there has also been a development in this stock. So there has been some inside deals. So small cap World Fund entered the stock. However, this HWIC exited. So they exited their total 7% position. So if you see here, HWIC held 7.5%, right? So HWIC has completely exited 3.2 and 4.27, right? So they have completely exited, and Small Cap World Fund has entered with a 2% position, and so that's what they've done. And when we go to the bulk deals, Small Cap World Fund has also taken some stake back in June. So they got in. Even Abacus Emerging Opportunities Fund, Sunil Singhania's fund, has taken some position in the company. They have around 2 lakh shares, right? So some good names are entering in the business, right? Okay. As I said earlier, stock is trading at very attractive PE levels. Median PE is around 11. Stock is trading at around 10. But the interesting thing is happening here. If we see the trailing 12-month profitability is at 1100 crores, and that is double of what they did in March 2020, and they've posted highest profitability ever. And so their profits are coming at very higher uptick, right? If we look at their revenues, their revenues have not crossed pre-COVID levels, but they are doing pretty good trailing 12 months basis. So my guess is they'll cross pre-COVID levels pretty soon. All right. One more thing can also happen is banks keep making provisions for the NPA. So whenever the repayment happens, those provisions will get released. That will add to the growth capital of the banks. So overall, the numbers look pretty good, and I believe that the COVID problems are behind us. Moving forward, we should see financials doing well in the market. Let's do a quick analysis on the technical front. So this is the weekly chart of IIFL Finance. So what has happened? Interesting stuff. Stock was trading between 275 and 370 from June 17 till September 18. So for a year, 1.25 years, it traded between this range, pretty much between this range, post which the stock crashed. So the stock went down by 70-80%. So there are a lot of people who are stuck here, who are feeling the pain, and precisely why when the stock came into that zone, it got sold off. Came into the zone, sold off. It came back into the zone, it got sold off. So this area we have to watch out for this area. Okay, so what am I looking at? These two things, these two uh, big red bars of volume are basically the bulk deals that have happened, the insider trades that have happened. So these aren't worrisome. Okay, so what I want to see is basically the stock falling on lower volume, which was happening over here. But once but over here, since September, the stock is falling, but the volume is pretty high. So I will wait for the volume to sort of go down a little bit and start building my position. So currently I've made a small position in this stock today. I've bought some because if we look at the 200-day moving average, it is trending upwards. 50 is slightly upwards. But what's essentially happening is that the stock is trading within this range, within 230 and 350 since February 2021. So my guess is that it will continue to trade in this range for some time now, right? So I have ample amount of time to make my position, right? So I'll be basically buying between 280 and 320. This is the range, and if it goes down further, I'll be adding to my position. So I'll be slowly building up my position. After building up my position, I'll be closely watching the GNPA, NNPA and the profitability of the company. If the profitability comes on a higher tick and the GNPA, NNPAs are maintained at the same level, that is good. Then I will continue to keep the stock. If the profitability is not coming in, GNPA and NPAs are rising, then I will look to exit the stock. So this was the analysis. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Remember, this is not a buy sell recommendation. It's an educational video. Thanks a lot.